Imagine thousands of people over 60 wake up each morning, take their pills like clockwork, go through their daily routine feeling perfectly fine. No chest pain, no dizziness, no warning signs whatsoever. They eat breakfast, meet friends, live what seems like a normal day, but here's what's terrifying. Inside their bodies, their hearts are being pushed to the edge without them knowing it. That's the most dangerous thing about certain cardiac risks after 60. They don't announce themselves, they don't hurt, they don't send up red flags, and by the time symptoms finally appear, the damage is often already done. I'm a geriatric physician, and today I need to be completely honest with you about something most doctors don't explain clearly during appointments, something many older adults discover far too late. There are common medications prescribed by doctors, trusted by millions, taken every single day that can actually increase your risk of a heart attack after 60. Not because these pills are inherently bad, but because of how they interact with a body that's changed with age. I'm not talking about reckless self-medication or obvious overdoses. I'm talking about pills that people take confidently, believing they're protected. In this video, I'll walk you through 5 groups of medications that deserve your close attention, why they can affect your heart, and what warning signs you need to watch for before it's too late. But first, let me say something crucial. Just because a medication was prescribed doesn't mean it's harmless forever. Your body at 60 doesn't respond the same way it did at 40. Your heart ages, your blood vessels become more rigid, your internal balance shifts. So I'm asking you to do something simple. Watch this video all the way through. Don't skip ahead. Don't jump to conclusions. Each section has a purpose. Want to find out what these medications are? Before I reveal them, leave a comment below sharing where you're watching from and how old you are. Let's see how many of us are choosing to protect our heart health as we age. And don't go anywhere, because coming up next is information that could change everything. Now let's get started. Understanding what changes in your heart after 60. To understand why certain pills can increase cardiac risk, we first need to understand what's different about your heart after 60. Think of your heart as an incredibly intelligent pump. For decades, it's worked non-stop, day and night. It pushes blood, adapts to stress, compensates for problems, responds to challenges. But over the years, that pump loses some flexibility. Your arteries don't expand as easily as they once did, internal pressure rises more quickly, and your margin for error shrinks. In a young person's body, mistakes get corrected fast. In an older adult's body, any extra stress can tip the scales. Some pills raise your blood pressure without you noticing. Others subtly alter your heart rhythm. Still others cause fluid retention that overloads your heart. And here's what's truly unsettling. All of this could be happening to you right now, and you'd feel perfectly fine. That's why silent cardiac risk is so dangerous. Ask yourself this simple question. If your heart is already working with a smaller safety margin, does it make sense to add unnecessary stress to it every single day? That's exactly what happens with certain common medications after 60. Let me be clear from the start. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm giving you clear information so you can make informed decisions together with your doctor. Here's something I see frequently in my practice. Older adults who say, I take care of myself. I take my medications. I don't smoke. I walk regularly. Yet they still experience an unexpected cardiac event. When we carefully review their cases, a pattern emerges. It's not just one pill. It's the combination, the duration, and the context of an aging body. Medication number 5, common pain relievers, NSAIDs. Let's start with number 5. Pay close attention because this one usually flies completely under the radar. It's not a heart medication, which is precisely why it's so dangerous after 60. I'm talking about medications containing diclofenac, naproxen, or ketoprofen. Right now you might be thinking, but that's just for pain. Exactly, and that's the problem. These medications belong to a group called nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or NSAIDs. They're prescribed for joint pain, muscle aches, back pain, knee pain, hip pain. Countless older adults take them several times a week. Some take them almost daily. Here's the part almost nobody explains. These medications can increase heart attack risk, not by directly attacking your heart, but by altering blood pressure, circulation, and fluid balance. After 60, your heart doesn't have the same adaptive capacity. When an anti-inflammatory causes your body to retain sodium and water, internal pressure goes up. Higher pressure means more work for your heart. More sustained work over time means greater risk. I've had patients tell me, I only take it when something hurts, but when we review carefully, that when something hurts has turned into 4 or 5 times a week for years. The problem isn't one isolated pill, it's the quiet, steady frequency. Here's a critical warning sign to remember. If you're taking these anti-inflammatories and notice ankle swelling, rising blood pressure, or unexplained fatigue, your heart is paying the price. Now let me say something important so you don't misunderstand. I'm not saying these can never be used. I'm saying that after 60, they shouldn't be used as if your body is the same as it was before. Medication number 4, certain antidepressants, tricyclics. Now let's move to number 4. This one surprises people even more because it's prescribed for something many older adults struggle with, and almost nobody connects it to the heart. I'm talking about medications like amitriptyline. Yes, amitriptyline. Many know it as the pill that helps you sleep, calms your nerves, or eases nerve pain. But here's the critical point. Amitriptyline can alter your heart rhythm, prolong certain electrical intervals in your heart, and increase the risk of arrhythmias in older adults. In younger people, the body usually compensates. After 60, that margin shrinks. I've had patients with no serious cardiac history who started experiencing palpitations, nighttime dizziness, and a feeling of emptiness in their chest, and it all began after starting this medication. What's especially concerning is that it's often taken at night when nobody's monitoring blood pressure or checking pulse. Remember, your heart works while you sleep, and some pills force it to work irregularly.
Medication number 3, decongestants, pseudoephedrine. Now we come to number 3. I want you to listen very carefully because this one surprises people most in consultations. It's not prescribed for your heart, blood pressure, or cholesterol. It's prescribed for something almost everyone's had at some point: stuffy nose, congestion, cold, allergies. I'm talking about medications containing pseudoephedrine. Let me pause here because this is one of those pills most people take without a second thought. That's for my stuffy nose? That's for a cold? I take it for a day or two and I'm done. And yes, in young, healthy people without medical history, the body usually tolerates it. But after 60, the story changes completely. Pseudoephedrine is a nervous system stimulant. Its job is to constrict blood vessels to reduce nasal congestion. The problem? It doesn't just constrict vessels in your nose, it constricts vessels throughout your body. And what happens when blood vessels constrict? Blood pressure shoots up. Your heart has to beat harder. Your heart rate accelerates. In a young heart, this is usually temporary. In an aging heart, it can be the trigger. I've seen older adults come in saying, I had a strong palpitation, but just once. My heart raced at night. I felt like a punch in my chest, then it passed. When we investigate, a pattern appears: recent cold, congestion medication, pseudoephedrine. Understand something important. The risk isn't always immediate. Sometimes nothing happens the first or second day, but your heart gets stressed, pressure rises, coronary blood flow gets disrupted. And in someone with already somewhat rigid arteries, with small plaques that aren't causing symptoms yet, that sudden pressure spike can break the balance. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, go ahead and give it a like. It really helps support the channel and let us reach more people who need this information. Let me share a real micro story, without any exaggeration. A 69-year-old man with no previous diagnosis of serious heart disease arrived at the emergency room with chest pain. He hadn't been exercising, wasn't stressed, hadn't eaten heavy food. 2 days earlier, he'd had a bad cold. He took a decongestant medication for 3 days. That was enough. It wasn't the cold, it was the cardiovascular stimulation in a heart with little margin. Here's a warning I need to make crystal clear. Many medications with pseudoephedrine are marketed as if they're harmless. Some are even available over the counter. But after 60, available doesn't mean safe. If you have hypertension, cardiac history, arrhythmias, or take several medications simultaneously, this substance can genuinely increase your heart attack risk. Pay attention to these warning signs. They're crucial. After taking a congestion medication, if you notice palpitations, chest pressure, intense nervousness, increased blood pressure, difficulty sleeping, don't ignore it. Don't think it'll pass. Your heart is warning you. Let me say this with full medical responsibility. I'm not saying it can never be used. I'm saying it shouldn't be used lightly, and certainly not without your doctor knowing you're taking it. There are safer alternatives for older adults, but those decisions are made case by case, not out of habit. Medication number 2, digestive aids, domperidone. Let's move to number 2. This one usually provokes a very clear reaction when I mention it in consultations. Many people tell me, but that medication isn't for the heart. That was prescribed for my stomach. That's gentle. It doesn't cause harm. And that's precisely why it's so dangerous after 60. I'm talking about medications like domperidone. Domperidone is used very frequently for digestion, nausea, reflux, feeling of fullness, and to help the stomach empty. For years, it's been seen as a safe medication. But here's something almost never clearly explained. Domperidone can alter your heart's electrical system, not its strength, not by suddenly accelerating it. It disrupts its coordination. And that electrical disruption in an older adult can have serious consequences. To understand this, let me explain something simply. Your heart doesn't just beat through force. It beats because it has an internal electrical system that sets the rhythm. That system coordinates second by second, so each heartbeat is effective. When that system gets altered, the heartbeat can become irregular, unsynchronized, inefficient. Domperidone can prolong an electrical interval in the heart, especially in older people, and particularly when combined with other medications. And you know what the biggest problem is? This can happen without clear symptoms. At first, there isn't always pain or warning, sometimes just mild dizziness, a strange sensation, unexplained fainting. I've seen older adults come into consultation saying, "I got dizzy, but it passed. I felt weird for a moment, but it was quick." When we review their medical history, the pattern appears: daily domperidone combined with other medications, advanced age. Pay very close attention to this. After 60, your heart doesn't tolerate sudden electrical changes well. What used to be compensated for can now destabilize you. Real micro story. A 71-year-old woman with no significant cardiac history started taking domperidone daily for digestion. No chest pain, no shortness of breath, just occasional dizziness. One day, she fainted in her kitchen. It wasn't a digestive problem. It was an arrhythmia. Not a noisy arrhythmia, a silent one. Here's what's most delicate. Often when an older adult faints, people think about blood pressure, blood sugar, age, but they don't check the electrical effects of medications, and domperidone is among those that appear most frequently in these cases. Now, understand something very important. I'm not saying this pill is poison. I'm saying in older adults, its prolonged use without review can increase cardiac risk, especially if you have a history of arrhythmias, take several medications simultaneously, have had fainting episodes, or feel unexplained palpitations. Let me pause to say something key. Many older adults take stomach medications thinking they're completely safe because they don't act on vital organs, but the heart and digestive system aren't separate. They share nerves, signals, electrical balance. When a pill alters that balance, the heart feels it. Important warning: if you take domperidone and have noticed dizziness, feeling faint, irregular heartbeats, or sudden fatigue without clear cause, don't ignore it. Don't think it's just age. Don't think it's normal. It's a sign that needs review. And I want to tell you one more thing clearly. There are safer alternatives in many cases, but that's not decided alone. It's decided with your doctor reviewing your complete history.
Now, we arrive at number 1. I want you to listen with special attention because this is the one I see most in practice, the one that's most normalized, and the one that most frequently appears in the medical history of older adults who suffered a heart attack. It's not prescribed for the heart, blood pressure, or cholesterol. It's prescribed for something many older adults live with daily: anxiety, nervousness, difficulty sleeping, feeling restless. I'm talking about medications like clonazepam, alprazolam, and others in the benzodiazepine group. I need to pause here because this is a delicate but fundamental topic. These pills aren't usually seen as dangerous. In fact, many people say, that calms me down. I sleep better with it. It was prescribed years ago. And it's true, these pills calm, relax, reduce anxiety, but they also do something else that's almost never clearly explained. Benzodiazepines can depress breathing, alter deep sleep, and reduce oxygen levels in your blood during the night. What does that have to do with your heart? Everything. When oxygen drops, your heart has to work harder to compensate. It beats faster, strains more, consumes more energy. In a young adult, the body usually adapts. In an older adult, that margin is much smaller. Let me explain this simply. During sleep, your heart should rest. Pulse slows, pressure regulates, the cardiovascular system recovers. But when a pill alters nighttime breathing, that rest doesn't happen. Your heart spends the night working under unfavorable conditions, often without you knowing it. I've seen patients who come in saying, I sleep 8 hours but wake up exhausted. I wake up with my heart racing. I feel wiped out from morning on. And when we investigate, the pattern appears. Prolonged benzodiazepine use, advanced age, other associated medications. Here's a very important part. These pills can also lower blood pressure irregularly, cause dizziness when standing, and increase fall risk. And what happens when an older person falls? Stress, pain, inflammation, increased cardiovascular load, everything's connected. A real micro-story, very common. A 74-year-old man had been taking clonazepam every night for years, never had diagnosed heart problems. He slept well, according to him, but woke up tired with occasional palpitations. One day, when getting up quickly from bed, he got dizzy, fell, and hours later had chest pain. It wasn't just the fall, it was the sum total. Altered nighttime breathing, low oxygenation, sustained cardiovascular stress. Let me say this with absolute clarity. I'm not saying these pills are bad in all cases. In many cases, they're necessary and useful. What I am saying is that after 60, their prolonged automatic use can increase cardiovascular risk if not reviewed periodically, especially if you take them daily, wake up tired, have nighttime palpitations, snore loudly or pause breathing, or take other medications affecting the nervous system. Pay attention to these warning signs. They're very important. If you use these pills and notice excessive daytime drowsiness, breathing difficulty while sleeping, waking with choking sensation, irregular heartbeats, dizziness when standing up, don't ignore it. Don't normalize it. Don't just blame it on age. It's information your body is giving you. And I want to say one more thing with great responsibility. Never stop these pills suddenly. Never. Any adjustment must be done gradually and under supervision, but the first step isn't stopping. The first step is reviewing. Reviewing if they're still necessary, reviewing the dose, reviewing how they're affecting your rest and your heart. Now, I want us to do something very important. Take a step back for a moment and look at all this together, because the real risk isn't in just one pill. The real risk is in the silent accumulation. An anti-inflammatory that slightly raises blood pressure, a digestive medication that alters electrical rhythm, a decongestant that speeds up the heart, a sleeping pill that lowers nighttime oxygen. Each one separately might seem harmless, but together, in a body over 60, they can create the perfect scenario for an unexpected heart attack. This is something I see over and over in practice. Responsible people, disciplined people, people doing everything right, and yet the heart fails. Not because the body is broken, but because nobody reviewed the complete context in time. After 60, the body changes. That's not an opinion, it's biology. The heart has less margin, arteries are more rigid, recovery is slower, tolerance is lower. And that's why what used to be safe needs to be reviewed today. I want you to understand something very important, and I want to tell you this with calm. This video isn't meant to make you afraid of your medications. It's meant to stop you from taking them on autopilot, to make you ask questions, to request reviews, to understand what you're taking, why you're taking it, and how it's affecting you today, not 10 years ago. Because your age has changed, and your treatment should change with it. I've seen older adults avoid heart attacks simply by adjusting doses, changing combinations, substituting medications, reviewing schedules. Not with miracles, with awareness. If you take just one idea from this video, let it be this. After 60, no pill is neutral. All interact with your heart directly or indirectly. And the sooner you understand that, the more room you give your body to protect itself. Now, let me speak from the human side, not just the medical. I know many older adults live with constant fear of a heart attack, fear of sleeping, fear of sudden pain, fear of not waking up. But living with fear doesn't protect your heart. Living with information does. When you understand what's happening in your body, fear turns into conscious action. You review, you adjust, you prevent, and that changes everything. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who might need it. Your support helps us reach more people looking to stay strong and healthy as they age. Comment what's your age and where you're watching from. We love hearing from our amazing community. Remember, after 60, prevention doesn't start in the emergency room. It starts with awareness. See you in the next video.